Imagine life without antibiotics, or imagine the 20th century without space travel. Imagine your world without motor cars and cellular phones. All of these are the result of science's discoveries, building one upon the other. Join us in this video as we take a quick look at some of the discoveries that completely changed the world we live in today. It's impossible to list them in order of importance, so they are ranked in the order they were discovered. First up, the Copernicus system. While on his deathbed in 1543, Nicholas Copernicus, the Polish astronomer, gave the world his theory that the sun was at the center of our solar system and that the planets revolved around it. Up to that point, it was believed the Earth formed the center of the universe. Then, gravity. It was the English mathematician Isaac Newton who gave us an understanding of gravity. In 1664, Newton found that gravity is the force that draws objects to each other. It is for this reason that planets orbit the sun and that things fall on Earth. And electricity. Michael Faraday made life infinitely easier for us. He discovered that a wire carrying electricity would rotate when it is placed next to a magnetic pole. The result? The electric motor, of course. He was also the first scientist to produce electric current and design the world's first generator. We're going to take you to Louis Pasteur and how his discoveries still save lives more than a century later. Keep watching. Also, the theory of evolution. Back in 1859, when Charles Darwin, the British naturalist, came up with the theory of evolution, he gave us a window into the way life on Earth developed. He argued that all creatures on Earth adapted slowly and therefore changed over time. That adaptation, he said, was a species' only defense against extinction. Then, Louis Pasteur. Today, we are all aware of bacteria, but back in the 1860s, Louis Pasteur was the first scientist to start experimenting with microorganisms. He discovered that bacteria could be killed by heat and also by a disinfectant. The direct result of his findings was that doctors started washing their hands and sterilizing their instruments before treating patients. Millions of lives have been saved since as a consequence. We all know the important role DNA plays in all life forms, but where and how was it discovered? Keep watching. We're going to bring you that and more in a moment. Of course, there was Albert Einstein and the theory of relativity. Einstein published this revolutionary book back in 1905. It illuminates the relationship between time, speed, and distance. This theory became one of the cornerstones of modern science. And the Big Bang Theory. The origins of the universe remain a mystery. Scientists put the date at somewhere around 13.7 billion years ago, and they say it is the result of a humongous explosion, which they call the Big Bang. According to this theory, all the matter in the universe was instantaneously dispersed from a single tiny dot. The periodic table was many a student's nemesis in science class at school, but there's more to it than a childhood headache. Stay with us. We're going to tell you more shortly. Keep watching. And DNA. James Watson from the USA and Francis Crick of Britain made one of the most magnificent discoveries in the history of the world. On the 28th of February, 1953, they discovered the double helix that makes up DNA. In short, they said, these are two strands twisting around each other that contain the precise blueprint of the human being that will follow. If you've ever broken a bone, you'll know how important X-rays are. Keep watching. We're going to give you the lowdown in a moment. Then, the periodic table. Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev proposed the periodic law in 1869, and the periodic table is its result. He was the first to notice that chemical elements lined up to form groups with similar properties when they were arranged according to atomic weight. And also, X-rays. A German physicist, Wilhelm Röntgen, first stumbled upon X-rays in 1895. These rays go straight through some forms of matter, importantly, flesh and wood, but they are stopped by others like lead and bone. Röntgen won the first ever Nobel Prize for his work. The atomic bomb conjures up stories of death and destruction, and rightly so. For more on the history and future of this discovery, keep watching. Then, quantum theory. Niels Bohr from Denmark won a 1922 Nobel Prize for his work on the structure of an atom. He was also the granddaddy of quantum theory, considered by many to be the science of the future. And the atomic bomb. This is the one discovery that has a mixed legacy. It ended World War II, but it also marked the beginning of the arms race. There are many arguments for and against the proliferation of nuclear weapons, with some arguing that it could end the Earth as we know it, and others saying it is a deterrent. Be that as it may, this single discovery changed the world forever. Coming up is the future of outer space and the history of fossils. Don't go away. All of that follows in a moment. Next, HIV/AIDS. In 1983 and 1984, Robert Gallo from the USA and Luc Montagnier from France determined the HIV virus was the cause of AIDS. This discovery led to the development of antiretroviral drugs, and they have saved millions of lives. Also, the sequence of a supernova. Gamma-ray bursts, the most powerful explosions in the entire universe, have long been a mystery. These explosions release as much power as 1 billion trillion suns. They baffled the world of science ever since 1973 when they were discovered. In March 2003, scientists finally got the evidence they were looking for to determine what these explosions were. It turns out these supernovae are associated with the death of massive stars. There are still many questions, but we are edging ever closer to understanding the building blocks and forces that shape our universe. Also, the discovery of the Microraptor, the fossil of a species of flying dinosaur, was discovered in February 2003 in northeast China. It was the first dinosaur fossil ever found that had 4 wings. The team from China named it Microraptor Gui, the Chinese paleontologist, after which it was named. Gu Qi-wei says the creature was tree-bound and possibly glided between the giant trees from the age. It was a distant relative of T-Rex, but much smaller. In fact, it measures only 30 inches from tail to head. It is also this Microraptor that proved the relationship between dinosaurs and birds. And staying with dinosaurs, Madagascar dishes up evidence of cannibal dinosaurs. Keep watching for more. And a paleontologist finds T-Rex was maybe not as tough as we thought. Jack Horner was the man who started to challenge our conventional ideas about T-Rex as the most savage predator of its time. Horner put forward a theory that says T-Rex was a scavenger, not a predator. This, if true, would put T-Rex in the same league as hyenas and vultures, instead of the more noble category of a predator. Horner says T-Rex's style was probably to simply bully carnivorous predators from their prey, and then claim it for himself. Just about every kind of dinosaur enthusiast in the world is probably going to hate that T-Rex could have been a scavenger instead of a predator. Then, the dinosaur cannibal. While studying dinosaur bones from Madagascar, scientists found that Majungalothes adipus, this is a dinosaur from the Cretaceous period, could have made a meal of members of its own species. The scientists measured the jaws and teeth of Majungalothes against bite marks of other members of the species, and it was a perfect fit. Imagine forensics on a 65-million-year-old victim. And is it possible for a human chromosome to regenerate? Watch to the end to find out. Also, deep underground life. There's a thriving world of microbes far beneath the ocean floor. Scientists from Oregon State University drilled more than 1,000 feet below the floor to the ocean floor, first through sediment, then basalt, and then down toward the Earth's crust. They collected samples as they went along and discovered a profusion of bacterial activity in this impossibly hostile environment. These tiny creatures live in temperatures of around 65 degrees centigrade and feed on inorganic molecules, mostly carbon, hydrogen, and sulfides. And finally, the rotting Y chromosome redeemed. Scientists published a comprehensive analysis of the Y chromosome's genetic code for the first time in June 2003. The chromosome has often been considered the orphan chromosome because it provides only 78 of the approximately 30,000 in the DNA of human beings. And beyond determining gender, it doesn't do much else. As a consequence, many scientists have subscribed to what they call a rotting Y theory. This theory says that the Y chromosome will continue to degenerate as the human being evolves over the next 5 million years, and then it will become extinct. And now things have changed. Where it was once written off as some kind of inconsequential loner, the Y chromosome is making a magnificent comeback. It can repair its most essential genes, and it does it all by itself. It can't combine with the X chromosome, so it has learned to combine with itself. This has important ramifications for the study of genes and the ways they can impact modern medicine. In a way, the Y chromosome, previously benched by science because it was thought it does little else but help to determine gender, can now do something the X chromosome can't: generate and regenerate genes. Wow! And with that exciting bit of science, we conclude this video. Remember to watch out for our next upload.